mission is to help friends and family spend time together in the great outdoors. At Campers Unlimited, you aren't just a customer, you are family. Check out our inventory at campersunlimited.net or come see us at Gaston or Oxford.
On average, a tow truck operator is killed every 6 days in the United States. A tragic, yet preventable event. The fact is, most people don't know what it's like being a tow truck operator. The dangers that occur while servicing a roadside vehicle are real. However, you can make a difference to help lower the statistic and save lives by simply slowing down and moving over. This simple task can prevent an unnecessary death and allow workers to make it home to the families waiting for them. After all, it's the law in all 50 states for good reason. Do your part so they can live another day and be there for you when you need them. Move over. Their lives don't belong to you.
I'm Clinton Griffiths, the host of Ag Day. Get the latest news about crops, livestock, and rural living weekdays. Follow the food you eat from the field to the store to your table every day.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Apothecary Draft House here in Jacksonville, Alabama. Another edition of Jack State Live and the Rich Rodriguez Show coming your way tonight. I'm Eli Gold. Great to have you with us, and we've got so much to talk about. Obviously, this past weekend, or Thursday, the football team was in action. We saw the volleyball team in action over the weekend. The cross-country team hanging on to some fine performances over the weekend. We'll update you on all of that. We'll talk about lots going on and what's upcoming, including the JSU meeting with Louisville this Saturday that you'll be hearing on the Gamecock Sports Network. That's going to be part of our discussion when Coach Rich Rodriguez joins us here in about 30 minutes from now. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, it is a easy way to do it. Just give us a call at 256-369-1688. 256-369-1688. If you're in the Jacksonville area, you know where the Apothecary Draft House is. We're right here on the square in downtown. Feel free to come on by and join us. Got some pizza here, all sorts of things to drink, so come on and join us. And then we'll be joined here in just a moment or so by a man whose team's had an outstanding weekend. Jeremy Provence is the head coach of the cross-country team. We'll talk about that, track and field, and a whole lot more as we roll on this Monday evening. Hope you had a good, safe Labor Day today, and wherever it is you're tuning in tonight, thanks for being with us. We're coming right back. We've got lots to talk about on this Monday night edition of Jack State Live and the Rich Rodriguez Show.
Can you buy for $10? A hat? A milkshake? 166 channels plus live sports? That's right, for only $10 you can get 166 channels of classic TV shows and movies, including the latest news update from all around the world and local sports. Just simply go to 24ctn.com and click download, and then for only $10 you can have access to the best TV available.
Come out and check out the Alabama Tractor Difference. We can take care of all your needs of parts, sales, and service for RTVs, zero turns, and tractors and construction equipment. See us here in Lincoln at 620 Speedway Industrial Drive. Or come visit us here in Asheville at 275 6th Avenue, or give us a call at 205-594-7000.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA. Most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I Want to Live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
Welcome back, everybody. The Apothecary Draft House here in the Square in Jacksonville, Alabama. I'm Eli Gold. Glad to have you along with us tonight. Quick look at what went on over the weekend on the campus. The Jack State soccer team dropping a tough match to Chattanooga by a final of 1-0. The Gamecocks are now 2 up and 3 down on the year, and they'll be back in action hosting Alabama State this Thursday night. That's at the Jack State Soccer Complex. It'll be available to you on ESPN. Plus, meanwhile, the volleyball team, they had a huge weekend. They won the Gamecock Classic, sweeping all 3 matches that they were entered into. And, of course, the senior setter, as you'd expect, Ellie Garrett, became the Conference USA Setter of the Week. She had a grand total of nearly 100 assists over the weekend. 42 of those against Arkansas Pine Bluff, 48 against the team they faced in the championship match, West Georgia. So our congratulations to Coach Schroeder and the ladies as they pick up the win over the weekend. They now head to Corpus Christi, Texas, to meet both Texas A&M Corpus Christi and 2 other rivals in that series that'll take place this weekend. And also the Jack State men's golf team, in case you missed it, signing Ben Shedd to a letter of intent to join the Gamecocks this fall. He, of course, is one of the outstanding players, not only nationally, but in the state of Alabama. And we congratulate the Gamecocks and Ben Shedd for signing that letter of intent. And with all of that said, now let's welcome a gentleman who also had himself an outstanding weekend as Jack State went to an opening victory at the Foothills Invitational this past week. And we speak of head coach and a man who's really made a huge turnaround on the track and field and cross-country team. Jeremy Province is with us. Good to see you, Coach. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you having me here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And, you know, anytime you can turn things around, and we were laughing before, I said, man, you did it so quickly. Of course, a year and a half might to you not be that quickly, but to me, you turn a program around that quickly. You deserve to get a pat on the back. Tell me about the weekend. How dominating a performance was it?
You know, it was a really good start to our season. You know, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, you know, as every coach is going to say. It's a long season, but, you know, some of the programs we beat this past weekend, both on the men's and women's side, were programs last year that, you know, we were, I mean, honestly, not really that close to. You know, they beat us pretty handily last year. So just to see the team come out, you know, they're really confident in how they've been training. They're confident in the group and each other. So just to see them come out and execute the way we thought we were able to execute early, you know, what we were going to be able to execute early in the season was really good to see.
The men got the win. The women finished second only to Samford, which of course has been a national power. Where do you get the athletes from? Let's go back and let's assume that many of our listeners and viewers tonight don't know that much about cross country. And we know that internationally there are club teams. That's not the way to go here in the United States, is there?
Yeah, I mean, cross country and track is so different than a lot of the other sports. You know, it's really high school driven. You do have some club teams throughout the United States. but it's just not as prevalent, you know, in the sport. I think it is growing. I think it's becoming a bigger deal, but you know, still, you know, you can drive to Birmingham and watch a track meet or a cross country meet at Hewitt or some of the 7A schools, and you know, that's a majority of where your recruiting is going to come from. Internationally, it is a little different. You know, the athletic piece is not really tied into the high school level there in say Europe, where we recruit a lot from. So, you know, it is heavily club based, and you know, we have some really good relationships with some recruiting agencies that we've worked with in the past, and so it is a little bit different whether you're recruiting domestically or internationally.
I was going to ask you about that, and if you're just joining us, we thank you for being here. We're visiting with Jeremy Province. He is the head cross country and track and field coach for the men and women here at Jacksonville State. Coming up at the top of the hour, the Rich Rodriguez Show with head football coach Rich Rodriguez. I was going to ask you about the international. So you're telling me you don't necessarily call little Wilhelm at home in Dusseldorf and say, come play for us, run for us here in Jacksonville. You go through agencies, huh?
Yeah, so primarily, you know, and again, there's always, you know, different scenarios. We have a few that we didn't work through agencies on. You know, it's word of mouth for players that we have on our roster now. But primarily, yes, we have some agencies that we've worked with in the past. Our assistant coach, Coach Sousa, has been really instrumental in continuing to build the relationships we have with those agencies. And you know, it's really, you know, it's a trust thing. You know, Do you spend time overseas? Do you physically go over and watch these men and women compete, or do you rely exclusively on the agents? No, I mean, we spent 17 days this past summer in Europe. I think we traveled to 13 different countries, you know, along our way. So it was quite you know, some people call it a vacation. It was a lot of work.
Anything but, yeah.
It was a lot of work, a lot of traveling, but it's important for us to meet with the agencies, you know, have a presence there in person, and then also, you know, visit with the families, with the kids that we're recruiting. We want to show that we're genuinely interested. We want them here at Jacksonville State. We're going to invest in them as a person, more than just, you know, times on a sheet of paper. But then also, you know, watching and trying to recruit some, you know, future Gamecocks down the road.
Do they know Jacksonville State? How difficult of an education process is it for mom and them over there?
It is a lot different for them, but that's where the recruiting agencies that we work with do a great job of helping the families and then helping us. Okay. You know, there's a list of things that an international student athlete has to go through in order to go from Dusseldorf, Germany to, you know, Jacksonville, Alabama, and that's where, you know, it's a lot of work on our part, but also the recruiting agencies that we work with do a really good job of just helping the families work through that process and kind of informing them of what's needed in order for them to become eligible and to make it to Jacksonville, Alabama.
Folks, if you want to join the conversation, I know there's a lot to learn for all of us about cross country and track and field. The phone number to join the conversation, 256-369-1688. That's 256-369-1688. This is Jack State Live, to be followed by the Rich Rodriguez Show as we roll on for the Apothecary Draft House here in Jacksonville. You're listening to Jack State Live on the Gamecock Sports Network. All right.
I need to try it first.
The Civilian Marksmanship Program, also known as CMP, is a national organization dedicated to training and educating U.S. citizens in responsible uses of firearms and air guns through gun safety training, marksmanship training, and competitions. Their vision is to lead the nation in marksmanship excellence, providing safe, high-quality, and innovative programs with a focus on youth. For more information about the CMP and upcoming events, visit thecmp.org.
Eli Gold here, ready for a winning drive? Go see my friends at Cooper Chevy Buick. Choose from hundreds of new Chevys and Buicks, including a great selection of Car Bravo certified used. Score big with low finance rates and ask about their guaranteed credit approval program. Get top dollar for your trade, no matter the yardage. Your road to victory starts today at Cooper Chevrolet Buick in Anniston or online, cooperchevrolet.com. official sponsor of JSU Athletics.
Grub Mart and Young Oil, serving East Alabama for over 80 years. Come into one of our many locations throughout East Alabama and try our Joe Bell's coffee along with some Olio's donuts. From Center to Jacksonville to Auburn and everywhere in between, Grub Mart is here for you.
I need to try it first.
Jack State Live and the Rich Rodriguez Show. You see the phone number for those of you on the TV side, 256-369-1688. Those of you listening on the Gamecock Sports Network, just feel free to pick up the phone and join us as well, 256-369-1688. I'll tell you something I do virtually every year is on Patriot Day, I don't care about the Boston Red Sox, but I do care about the Boston Marathon, something in which you have competed in the past, and I should add, did very, very well. What kind of an experience was that for you?
It's a surreal experience. It's one of the most popular marathons in the world. Sure. Especially, here in the United States. And, the city of Boston, I love it. Every time I've been there, it's been just a great experience. The people there, it's Patriots Day. It's more than just a race. I mean, it's a holiday up there. And so just the Boston really support the race, and just to have the elite athletes from across the world, it's an incredible experience to be a part of. And we should say that the coach, when he ran the marathon the last time in 2022, he finished 158th. And you say, well, how good is that? But when you start to think 25,000 plus competed that day, and you finished 158th, and there you were, in the elite, the label didn't say the elite group, but you were right up there with them. You were starting alongside some of the greats in the world. That must have been quite a heady experience, looking over there and recognizing all of these big names. Yeah, I mean, you've got to make sure that you remember why you're there. Like, you're about to run a marathon in 10 minutes when they're leading, world record holders out in front of you, and they're lining up, 20 meters in front of you in the start line. It's just, it's a pretty cool experience, and to be able to, so for me, I'm not an elite runner, never have, but, to finish in the top 150, I got a pretty good front row seat to watch some of the elites, at least at the start. After it got started, it was a different story. But. Do you still run competitively? I would say I don't know about competitively. I'm not as competitive as I used to be, but I still run every day. I still train quite a bit. I try to stay in shape, do some marathons, ultra marathons, stuff like that here and there. Let's talk about your team again, getting back to track and field and cross country in particular here at Jacksonville State. I saw, looking at the results from the weekend, you had 5 women placing in the top 20 of the race. 5 of the 10 top finishers were freshmen for both men and women. So that has to bode well for the future. Where are you now? And we talked about building this franchise and getting it pointed in the right direction. What are your needs at this point? Well, in recruiting, we need those individuals that's going to come in and help take us to the top of the CUSA. The last year was all about, we didn't have a deep roster when we got here. Right. It was really just reconstructing the whole roster. So, it was about finding the right fit. Obviously, we wanted to make sure we recruited the right individual into our program, but we needed some numbers. We needed to get a roster put together that was going to be competitive, that was going to help elevate us from where we were last year. And now it's okay. We've taken a good step forward. We've got a lot of young pieces. How can we challenge them to get better moving forward? Not only just as a coaching staff, but hopefully bringing in individuals that can push them in practice and help elevate them throughout their development as well. For those who don't know, how big are the rosters for cross country? How many men and women are allowed? Well, right now, that's a good question, right? It seems to be changing every day. But, I mean, generally, we've carried anywhere from 15 to 17 on the roster. So for cross-country, you know, those individuals will carry over into indoor and outdoor track as well.
Right.
So from a middle distance and distance standpoint in track and field, you'll have about 15 or 17 individuals, and that's what's going to make up your cross-country roster as well.
You know, it's funny, when I was growing up in New York City, I used to go to Madison Square Garden all the time. The Milrose games, the Knights of Columbus games, the IC4A competition, indoor competition, 13 laps to the mile. How tough is that? How different is it? If you're good indoors, are you good outdoors, and vice versa, or not?
Well, fast is fast, but
yes.
you know, but it is a little different. You know, I mean, there's, you know, indoor you don't have to worry about the elements. You know, it's a controlled environment, but you've got tight corners, lots of laps. It gets pretty congested. So whereas outdoor, you know, it generally would run faster, but then you got to account for the weather and all of the other elements. So, you know, both of them are unique. You know, I think a lot of it is just dependent upon the individual. You know, like stature can, you know, if you've got a miler, if somebody's super tall versus, you know, maybe shorter and stronger, you know, that could affect how they run the 800 or even the 1500. But, you know, generally, you know, what I always look, I mean, fast is fast, right? And if you're going to work hard and if you're going to do the right things, you know, generally what you're going to hopefully see good results indoor, and that's going to carry over to outdoor. What he's also saying in a nice way is don't look for Eli to break the tape. That's not going to happen. I'll give it my best shot, but that's not going to happen. We're coming right back with Jeremy Province. He is the cross-country and track and field coach here at Jacksonville State University. We're listening to Jack State Live, and coming up shortly, the Rich Rod Show on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
Whether it's family for dinner or game time, it's time for Johnson's Giant Foods Deli. All you have to do is drop by Johnson's Giant Foods and grab whatever you want, hot and ready to go. Chicken salad and chicken fingers to die for. Savory ribs, salad, dessert, you name it. It's waiting for you and your family or friends. Johnson's Giant Foods with 5 locations in Gadsden, Atala, Jacksonville, and Coldwater.
The weather is warming up and spring is just around the corner at Miller Sand and Landscape Supply. I'm Craig Miller, and we've got something for everyone. From bulk materials like sand, gravel, and mulch to beautiful outdoor decor to make your outdoor living space the envy of the neighborhood. See our beautiful selection of Mazzarelli fountains, flowers to brighten your garden, and an outdoor center loaded with beautiful decor. Whether you need a little or a lot, visit Miller Sand and Landscape Supply.
Serving East Alabama for over 20 years, Samco is your local convenient, clean, and friendly gas station. Fill up your tank with gas, diesel, or your favorite snacks and drinks. Samco has 48 locations to serve you in Calhoun, Etowah, Marshall, Talladega, and Cleburne counties. Samco is a proud community leader in giving back to help support local schools in East Alabama. For your convenient, clean, and friendly gas station needs, it's Samco.
Welcome back, everybody. The Apothecary Draft House is our home on Monday nights for Jack State Live and the Rich Rodriguez Show. That's all coming up tonight. We're in the midst of Jack State Live right now, visiting with Jeremy Province. He is the head coach of the cross-country and track and field team. Let's discuss what's coming up here over the next while. Coming up Saturday, you're at the UNA Invitational in Florence, Alabama. Who else is in that? That's got the reputation? Who are the guys that are going to be shooting at everybody here?
Yeah, so, I mean, North Alabama's got a solid program.
Yes.
And so they're going to be the team that I think will be probably battling with there for hopefully the team victory and maybe some individual victories as well.
Who is going to be the guy in the Conference USA that you're shooting at?
Yeah, so Middle Tennessee State, I mean, they're always a solid program on the men's side. I think on the women's side, it's going to be between them and Liberty. But, you know, at this level, I mean, there's 2 or 3 teams that are just very good. And, you know, I feel like I tell the team all the time, when you can compete for a podium position, you know, if you feel like you've got a chance to be in the top 3, I think you've got a chance to win the conference any given year.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be super tight up there. Middle Tennessee State, Liberty have both done really good jobs with those programs, but there's a few other teams that have a chance as well, I think, if everything kind of shakes out the way that maybe they plan it for.
What kind of an advantage is it holding the conference championships at a facility that you know very, very well? You'll be at Chocolaco Park, where you just won the Foothills over the weekend. How advantageous is it having that home track advantage?
Yeah, I can tell you the teams are pretty confident after this past weekend. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but you know, I think it's really important. Cross country is different than, say, track. Obviously, you have your home tracks, and you know, even in other sports, your home stadiums, but you know, the courses vary. You know, every course is a little bit different, whether you have hills or grass or dirt. So I think understanding how the course runs, you know, because we practice there and we've obviously raced there and done well, I think that does definitely help us.
Let's discuss the other element, the track and field portion of your responsibility. We've really not touched much on that since cross country did so well over the weekend, but how's the strength of the team in the track and field events?
Yeah, so we've got a really good contingent of, you know, sprints, short sprints, and then even the long sprints. You know, I think last year those event areas were really strong for us. I think we've added some pieces that could, you know, hopefully make us even better on that side of things. But, you know, Coach Sousa does a really good job of coaching that group. Coach Sousa is a former All-American in decathlon. Right. So we've got some multis in the program that we expect to do pretty well. I think he would say this if he was up here. He loves the hurdles, right? We've got some pretty strong hurdlers on the team. So those are kind of the areas that we've got returners and newcomers coming in that we feel like we're going to be pretty strong in those event groups. And, you know, credit to Coach Sousa. He's done a great job of developing the girls that we have returning and then also adding some really good pieces to the roster.
How long does it take an incoming freshman to be comfortable and a factor?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the individual.
Really?
You know, I mean, there's a lot of factors that, you know, depending on their high school experience, their coaching experience coming out of high school, but also just how, you know, all of these individuals are fairly talented. They wouldn't be at this level if they weren't, but you know, they've got to manage a lot of other things. You know, being away from home for the first time. Sure. They've got to manage the academic load. So, you know, there's just so many variables. It is really hard to really determine how long it's going to take for an individual. You try to do your best in recruiting to identify those that seem a little bit maybe more mature than what their age says, or, you know, maybe they've got a better handle on certain things, you know, coming in that we won't have to worry about. But it is really hard until they get here and start to work and be on their own at the collegiate level.
Well, if it was easy, everybody'd do it, huh?
Yes, it would make our job a lot easier if it would just translate very easily.
Coach, great to have you with us. Congratulations on the super weekend for both the men and the women over at Chocolaco, and I wish you the best, and you come visit again. We'd like to keep tabs on how you're doing.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Jeremy Province, ladies and gentlemen, he is the head coach of the cross country and track and field team here at Jacksonville State. When we come back here at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by head football coach Rich Rodriguez, and we'd love to hear from you. Phone lines are open at 256-369-1688. That's 256-369-1688. And for those of you who are here at the Apothecary Draft House, we do have a microphone set up over here to my left. If you have a question, feel free to come up and join the conversation. So don't you go away. We're continuing on this Monday, Labor Day night, right here on the Gamecock Sports Network.
Bank, we pride ourselves on being your bank. We're your neighbors and involved in the community. We're the bank featuring the Southern Rewards checking account, a cashback account with no ATM fees. We are on the cutting edge and always have a smiling face to help you out. So come to Southern States Bank, where we are committed to great service and being a great neighbor. Let us be the bank for you and your business.
Hello everyone, Tony Russell, General Manager of Sonny King Ford. And boy, do we have unbelievable markdown on used cars that you do not want to miss. It's time to make the best deal on a used car. Shop our wide selection of used trucks and premium pre-owned models. Don't wait another day. Come by and see me, Tony Russell, and let's make a custom deal for you. Find great savings on pre-owned used cars at Sonny King Ford on the sunny side of the street, Anniston, Oxford.
At Campers Unlimited, we offer a no-pressure experience, no hidden fees, and great service after the sale, making us one of the fastest-growing RV dealers in the Southeast. With our second location in Oxford, we offer a great selection of over 220 campers from top brands, including Grand Design. Our mission is to help friends and family spend time together in the great outdoors. At Campers Unlimited, you aren't just a customer, you are family. Check out our inventory at campersunlimited.net or come see us at Gaston or Oxford.
Coach of the Gamecocks, Rich Rodriguez, and we'd love to have you join us as well on the phones at 256-369-1688. And those of you here at the Apothecary, we have a microphone set up here for you if you'd like to join us as well. Coach, good to see you. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good, thank you. It's more than 24 hours past the last debacle, so, you know, we've moved on.
Yeah, you have moved on, and that's exactly right. But you hate to hear a coach use words like embarrassing or debacle. Yeah. You do have to put that behind you.
Right.
But tell me about the psyche of your players. How have they been? Do you have to pick them up by their bootstraps or what?
A little bit. You know, I think there's more a surprise because I think our players felt we were ready to play. We weren't. I thought we were as well. But, you know, the worst part was, I guess if there's anything to take from it, it almost seemed like on every snap somebody did something wrong.
Yeah.
And that could have been including the coaches. But it wasn't everybody all the time. And the effort, I've never had guys play this hard and won it so much but play so poorly and coach so poorly. So, you know, we had a lot of lessons to learn from it. I think we'll get better from it, but at the same time, we've got to take a hard look at everything we're doing. And that's what my job is. That's what our players' jobs are. And now we get the good part about it, I guess is the good part about it. We're probably playing the best team, or should be the best team on our schedule. Probably a team that's going to, I think, the best team in the ACC, and probably will be in the 12-team playoff. So we'll go up there, get a paycheck, give them our best effort, and see what happens.
We're speaking, of course, about the Louisville Cardinals. They were winners this past weekend, 62-0 over Austin Peay. Let's go back to Thursday's game. There were moments there. I mean, the offensive line had problems, but they also had some pretty good moments. I know to you the mistakes stand out, but they didn't have a totally whitewash evening.
Well, and in order for us to win a game that we're playing poorly, you got to make what we got to make the layups. You know, we're third downs, and we had some easy conversions that we didn't make on third down, and so now, all of a sudden now our defense has got to go back on the field, and they're obviously struggling. So it was a combination of stuff. But when that happens, and I've done this long enough, you've got to take a hard look at yourself. You got to take a hard look at everything, your depth chart, your players, and all that stuff. And also is it issues that can be fixed. Some of it obviously can be fixed over time, but some of it needs to be fixed right away. So what we have to do is identify what we can fix right away and get that going and play better football this weekend.
I understand there are certain things coaches will not talk about on game week, regardless of what happened the weekend prior. But you did have, obviously, difficulty hanging on to the football. Not just turnovers, but there wasn't much time of possession. How do you work on that? Where will you
I've never
point
been
to
worried
that?
about time of possession because it's, in some respects, it can help you. Certainly can help your defense if they're struggling.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about first downs, and that's when you struggle and go 1 for 10 on third down, and 5 of them are what we call layups.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you get hurt. It's because now all of a sudden now you lose the ability to make your tempo a factor in a game. You make your defense go back out there when they're struggling, and so that was the takeaway. But that's pretty obvious too.
Sure.
And all those kind of stuff. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do to fix it, and you got to do with the guys you got, and they're pretty conscientious. I think our guys know what we got to do to get better.
Just showing some of the highlights of this past weekend, past Thursday's game. I want to talk about some of the things that did go well. Zechariah Poyser had himself, I thought, a pretty good ball game. An interception, a fumble return, 6 tackles. He broke up a pass. Not a bad showing right there.
Yeah, for his first start, he's a young guy. He got a little bit of playing time last year, but really this is his first extensive playing time, and he's had a pretty good camp. Feel pretty good about his future and what he's going to do.
How much do you see him contributing? And I don't mean how much so far as, you know, he obviously contributed the other day, but how easy is he to teach?
Yeah, he's probably one of the best athletes on the entire team.
Really?
And he's football's important to him, so he works hard. But we knew that in the offseason that this guy, when we signed him, we thought he's a pretty good athlete. And then he's showed that in our offseason. He showed that last year a little bit in flashes. And I think he's got a great future because he's got all the ability in the world.
And one thing that was nice to see was Garrison Ripa kicking the ball so well.
Made a couple nice kicks, and you know, I think he's better than he was last year. He continues to get stronger. We just got to score more touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'd rather see extra points than field goals. But again, like there's so many things that you find out about your team in the first game, and even though most of them may be seen to be negative, there also were some things that we think we can build on. And again, if it was 5 guys or 3 guys or 4 guys on every snap doing something wrong, then that would be major concern. But when it's one, and the one happens to be a big one that catches you, let's fix that one at a time.
You know, I talk to people here and this weekend at the volleyball matches, and they say, you know, Rich Rod will figure out a way to fix it. And that's good to have that kind of belief behind you.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're doing it long enough, you have an idea. But it takes more than, it takes the entire staff. And it also takes the players. You know, there's got to be a sense of maturity amongst your older guys to, if they're making the mistake, to fix it, and then also to help. I got on the seniors a little bit because I think, you know, they're not a real vocal group by nature, and I don't want them to be something that they're not. But the little things off the field that a senior can control will lead to good things on the field is the same way. And so that leadership has got to step forward a little bit, I think.
Do you need a definitive 1 or 2 guys as leaders, or is it the unit that does the job?
It's a whole senior class that's kind of been responsible for that. And inevitably, there are going to be guys that have been in the program for 3 years now, know how we do things, to kind of help. And that's kind of what I appealed to the team the other day. Those guys that have been around and know how we do things, you know, in this day and age when you got 60 new players, and they're not bad guys, they're all good kids, but they're not used to doing things our way. And that takes a little bit longer to mold than you would like to in this day and age of the transfer portal. And, you know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to turn over 60 new guys every year. But when guys leave or things happen, you got to replace them, and then you got to try to get them caught up. Whether they're a freshman, true freshman, or whether they're a transfer, you got to get them caught up. And not so much attitude-wise and all that, because that part is actually not that hard to fix. It's paying attention to the detail and getting better fundamentally football-wise in a short period of time.
Again, if you'd like to join us, 256-369-1688. That's the phone number. What is your way? How does the Rich Rod way differ maybe from something that these guys experienced at Furman or at Nebraska or at Alabama or UAB?
Yeah, good question. I don't really think it's that much different. I mean, every coach wants discipline, and it's not a sometime thing, it's an all-the-time thing. You know, whether it's, you know, picking up trash in the facility, whether it's, you know, make sure you tape your ankles for practice, being on time for workouts and all that's easy discipline. I mean, everybody knows you got to do that stuff, but just taking that discipline another step further as far as that goes is part of that. Then just basically concentrating on what you got to do each and every night. I mean, us coaches live at 24/7.
Sure.
You know, we want our players, so much as they have other lives and they got the classes and all that, but we want them, when they have free time, we want them thinking more about football.
Let's go to Ephraim joining us. He's in Fayetteville, Georgia, with a question. Hello, Ephraim.
Hey, Coach. How you doing? Hey, Coach. How you doing?
Good, Ephraim. How you doing, buddy?
All right. All right. Hey, Coach. I got a question for you. After that game, what's your key learning? Not key takeaway, but key learning from that game.
Well, first, my first thought when it happens like that, when guys are playing hard but they're not just making mistakes, you know, first, are we doing too much? Are they mentally? Is it more than they can handle? Because I tell the coaches, I mean, the worst thing we could do as coaches is overcomplicate things and make things so hard that they can't get it fixed. And that's the first thing we learn. Okay, are we overcomplicating things? Because we had a different guy make a mistake, whether it's on offense or defense, whatever, every time. So it wasn't the same guy. So let's kind of simple our stuff down a little bit, make sure we're not overcomplicating things so they can play fast and physical. They played, like I said, they played hard, but they didn't play well. And assignment-wise, you know, we blew some major assignments and things we should never do, and that makes me think we've got to simplify things.
Was it something that Coastal was doing?
Well, you know, the first game you're always going to get, you know, they did more unbalanced stuff than we had seen before on their offense, and did some different stuff that they had not shown on film. But again, after a while, you adjust to it, right?
Yeah.
And you try to, but you got to have stuff simple enough for our guys. Got to be able to handle the adjustment. I think sometimes the inexperience at certain spots gets exposed when you go against something new, but that's our job as coaches to make sure that doesn't get us in trouble or too much trouble.
So what have you done now? What's this week of practice like? Do you go back to fundamentals? What do you do?
A little bit. I mean, you had one extra day basically because we played on Thursday, and so, you know, we have the 24-hour rule. Normally after 24 hours, win or lose, you move on. This one we probably took 48 hours because we had an extra day. But we practiced. They had a good practice yesterday. Today that was their one day off. But watched a lot of film. Had a lot of meetings with our guys. It's just basically, you know, getting ready for the next one.
When you asked the young man, what were you doing there? What were you thinking?
Most of the time they give you that, you know.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you don't think, I did that on purpose. You know, now the guy's, you know, he's a communist. You know, he does that, right? You got to get rid of him. But no, I think that they're young people and they make mistakes. And I think particularly in the first game, you know, I didn't sense that they had nerves or jitters, but we played like we did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We played like we made some uncharacteristic mistakes that they hadn't shown in camp. And so that's hopefully that'll be behind him.
You know who played very well was Jack Dawson, 47 yards.
Used him too much. But
yeah, exactly. But he had himself a good ball game.
Yeah, he punted well in our special teams, and he knew he had to do that. But we, you know, there are again, you know, we fair catch most of our kick returns, right? So
yeah.
One of them we thought, okay, well, we have to bring it back. They hit it on the ground, so we bring it back. What happens? We get a penalty. We start the ball inside the 15-yard line. You know, so those are things that we had probably maybe overemphasized, but I don't know if that's a key word or not. I don't know if you can overemphasize certain fundamentals. So, you know, those are things we just got to coach better, and our players, I think, they're pretty conscientious. That thing I will tell you that they're pretty conscientious, and they'll get better.
Yep. Jack Dawson, we were talking about him, the punter. He was number 16 in America in punting numbers this weekend.
Yeah, hell, and I have no idea what that means, and I don't really care.
It means there was only 15 guys better than him in the whole country.
Yeah, I don't want to. I hope he never punts again. You know?
I hear you.
But I think he is and part about with Jack, and then Garrison the same too.
Yes.
those specialists do take a lot of pride, you know, and I say they call them specialists for a reason, because they work on their craft, and Jack is very serious about being good at his craft.
We're going to come back. We're going to continue with the coach. And again, if you want to be on the show, we're happy to hear from you at 256-369-1688. That's 256-369-1688. And for those of you joining us here at the Apothecary Draft House, we've got a microphone set up here. If you'd like to throw a question at the coach, feel free to step on up and join us. We're back with more in just a moment. You're listening to The Rich Rodriguez Show on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
Can you buy for $10 a hat, a milkshake, 166 channels plus live sports? That's right, for only $10 you can get 166 channels of classic TV shows and movies, including the latest news update from all around the world and local sports. Just simply go to 24ctn.com and click download, and then for only $10 you can have access to the best TV available.
Come out and check out the Alabama Tractor Difference. We can take care of all your needs of parts, sales, and service for RTVs, zero-turns, and tractors and construction equipment. See us here in Lincoln at 620 Speedway Industrial Drive. Or come visit us here in Asheville at 275 6th Avenue, or give us a call at 205-594-7000.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I want to live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullies.
Welcome back, everybody. We are live tonight, as we are on every Monday night during the football season, at the Apothecary Draft House. I'm Eli Gold. Coach Rich Rodriguez is alongside as we get set to see the Louisville Cardinal this weekend hosting the Gamecocks in Louisville, Kentucky. You've seen them before. You're, what, 2-1 against them? You had a double overtime game, so you know the game. You know the Cardinals.
Yes, well, we had some big battles with them back when I was at West Virginia.
Exactly.
Had I think it was an overtime game at night. I remember that one. Yeah. And then I remember getting beat down at their place. They had I think it was a Thursday night game, and it was a blackout. It was crazy. Yeah. Great atmosphere, but we lost that one. Then we got them the third time. So, but a lot of respect. It's a great atmosphere. They got a great stadium. You know, I know.
And Brom's a heck of a coach.
Yep, been gone against him before. He does a great job. Their staff, they'll throw it all over the place. I mean, he's got great experience both in the NFL and college. They're really talented. They got a few skilled guys in the transfer portal. Very talented there as well, and they're committed to their program. You can see that, and he's done a great job there.
Their quarterback, Tyler Shuck, who was 18 of 24 this past weekend, 232 yards, 4 touchdowns. One of the guys who was played at Texas Tech and Oregon before going on to Louisville. I dare say you've seen some film on him already. What's he look like? What's he do?
Yeah, he's an NFL guy. He's big, strong, very, very intelligent. He was a starter at Texas Tech, and then he got banged up a little bit. Now he's healthy, and that was the key. They had a senior last year, and they've replaced a guy that had even more experience than the starter they had last year. So Tyler's a really good player. I've been very impressed with him. And I actually saw him on film when he was playing Texas Tech. They were playing somebody that was on our schedule. I forget who it was. So I've seen him on film before. But and Jeff knows what to do with him. He'll take those pro-style guys and do some good stuff with them.
Number 22, Keon Brown, pretty solid runner for them.
Yeah, they got 3 freshman running backs, I think, that ran for 270 yards last week. They're very, very skilled, talented. They're big up front. Probably the most athletic defense in the entire ACC, watching their defensive guys. So, and they get after the quarterback. They blitz a lot. Their defensive coordinator, Ron English, I've known him for a long time. He's a very aggressive guy. They play downhill. They're fast, and they'll give you problems.
So that's coming up this weekend, of course, Jacksonville State and Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky. JSU having come off with a 55-27 loss, while Louisville with a 62-0 win over the Austin Peay Governors. You know, one thing about this past weekend's or Thursday's game here, 18,977 people. It was nice to see the support that's there.
It was, and I didn't, don't really look around too much.
Yeah.
The home side looked pretty filled, but the one thing that did stay out, the student section was packed.
Yes, it was.
Which I really appreciate our students coming out. I mean, it might have been the most I've ever seen in my 3 years here. The student section filled from top to bottom, and over on the end zone there, and that was really neat to see. And they, unfortunately, we didn't play well enough for the crowd to have an impact, but they could have.
Yeah.
They could have made a difference, especially with the way the student section showed up.
How was the field to compete on?
Yeah, I think it's great. Everything that we thought it would be, we've got, kind of a new surface, and it's kind of mixed with the rubber pellets and the wood chips to make it a little bit cooler, and I think it's been playing great.
So let's talk about where you're working or what you're working on this week. What's the 1, 2, 3 priorities?
The first thing is when you play poorly like that is do what you can to fix yourself. What I mean? And so having a couple extra days instead of playing on Saturday, we played on Thursday. So we had really kind of a day and a half to try to fix ourselves, so to speak. And then certainly yesterday, our practice yesterday was more focused on this is what we're doing and this is what Louisville's doing. And the rest of the week will be all geared toward that. So, we had some corrections to do, and as much as you can fix on yourself. And one day we did that, and then obviously the rest of the time is all getting ready for the Cardinals.
My math is not great, but I believe you average still 6.5 yards per play this week, which is not a bad figure overall.
The most disappointing part is that had we converted just 1 or 2 of those third downs.
Yeah, the 1 for 10 is not going to do you.
Yeah, the momentum would have got there, and then there was some other stuff we wanted to do, and just totally out of rhythm. Even our quarterbacks, they had, it wasn't like they were seeing a bunch of different stuff they hadn't seen or get ready for. I just think we pressed a little bit, if that's the right word. That's unfortunate because you try to. During the game, I try to make sure they're loose and getting ready for the game. But there's always going to be some first game nerves. Hopefully, those are out of the way now.
Hopefully so.
And then we just get back to playing football.
I'm not going to be so silly as to ask you who is starting at quarterback. If you choose to share that, that's fine. But are you likely to continue to rotate?
We will, yeah. With both Tyler and Logan, there's 2 guys, and neither one of them had their best game. Right. I think Tyler got more comfortable as the game went on. He was probably, even though he's played before, he was probably a little nervous. It was his first game with us. And then, Logan didn't have his typical outcome. There were a couple of things that he would like to have back too. But I still believe in both those guys. I still believe in Zion Turner. So we're still going to have the same thing. We're gonna play both. Consider we have 2 starters in Tyler and Logan, and Zion will put him and won't hesitate to put him in either. Zion
is a young man who used to play at the University of Connecticut. What does he bring to the table? The fans here may not know that much about him.
Yeah, he's an athletic guy, but he's one of the best pure passers we have. He's
really?
He got a very quick release. He played in a great high school program down in Fort Lauderdale. Like you said, he started as a freshman at UConn and took them to a bowl game. And so, but it's his first year, right, in the system. Yeah. So he's still learning. I'm pretty excited about what he could do in the future.
But you're right, that team down there, what is it, St. Thomas Aquinas?
St. Thomas Aquinas.
That's one of the better high school programs
in the country.
And I was going to say in the country, let alone Florida.
Yeah, and there's, that they take it real serious. They travel across the country to play their games. So he's been in some big, kind of game atmosphere. He's a great young man, and he's gotten better. It's his first year, like it's Tyler's first year. The difference is Zion has a couple more years after this.
Yeah. The size, you had talked about that last week on the show. You were concerned in some regards about the size. Was that a factor, the other night, or is it just, again, what we've talked about?
You know, a little bit. We're small up front defensively, but we've been small for the last couple of years. And again, everybody wants those D linemen. Everybody's buying them, I guess you could say, at this level. And so we're not the only coaches in the group of 5 that are saying, hey, you know, we need some big guys on the D line. So that's probably our biggest concern, and we'll be going forward is how do we find those big D linemen that everybody wants. And, you know, that the Power Fives aren't taken as third teamers, you know, so that's a concern. I think we've gotten bigger up front on the O-line. Coach Trick has done a good job, and so our size there, I think, is okay. But defensively up the front of the D-line, it probably did hurt us at times, and we've got to find a way to overcome that.
All right, let's talk about that. You're not going to, as great a coach as you are, and you're damn good, but you can't wish a guy to get bigger overnight. How do you get the guys to compensate for a lack of size?
Good question there too. You know, you might not be 300 pounds, you're 275 pounds, but you got to play with great leverage and great technique. That's the thing. If you're undersized a little bit, does not mean you can't play and have success. You just got to be very sound in your fundamentals. You got to play with great technique, and you got to do it all the time. You know, little guys get moved around a little bit, you know, and you can't afford to do that if you're not a dominant 300-pounder.
The one guy I liked watching the other night was your nickelback, Pat Taylor. 12 tackles, not the bad way to get going for the transfer from Georgia. I expected to see something like that out of him. 12 tackles was nice.
Yeah, for his first game in our system, we thought he was pretty active. Tackled pretty well. Showed some good stuff, and there were other guys too that made their debut for us that showed some signs. But overall, it was hard to take a whole lot of positive from it. But I'm not to be all negative either. There were some good moments from some good guys and some stuff that we get better from.
We're visiting with Rich Rodriguez. If you'd like to join the conversation, this is the Rich Rod Show, as we do every Monday night from the Apothecary Draft House here in Jacksonville. We're on the square. We'd love for you to feel free to give us a call and be part of the program. You know, 13 times in the last 14 games, you have rushed for better than 100 yards. This past weekend, you still had magnificent, rushing numbers. So that element of the team is still there for you.
Yeah, and we didn't run as well as we needed to in this game. That was obvious, but that's a big part of us, what we do, controlling the tempo and being able to run the football.
293 yards, though, was not chopped liver.
Yeah, what we can do better, obviously, is when the big play is there, we got to capitalize on it. You know, I think we will be able to be more explosive at times and get better during the year. But we have to run. If we can't run the football, we'll struggle winning games, and so we've got to get better at that.
Who's your best run blocker?
You know, that's a fair question. You know, Clay Webb's getting a lot of attention. He should, because he's a good player and he's very strong. He's got all the size and everything that the NFL guys. Will Osteen at left tackle might be physically the toughest guy we have on our entire football team. You know, Brock Roby's solid at center, and so we got those three guys have all started a lot of games. You know, understand our system pretty well.
Is Clay Webb? He's another transfer for those who don't know from Georgia by way of Oxford, Alabama. What makes him so good?
He's the strongest guy on the team.
That's overall just blatant strength.
Yeah, he's got great strength. Some of it's natural, but he works hard at it too. And he's worked really hard with Coach Trickett in his technique in the last couple of years to get better at that. But he's learning how to use his hands. He's so strong that when he gets his hands on you with great technique, he can move anybody. And so I think he's better now than he was a year ago, and he's a whole lot better than when he first got here 2 years ago. So pretty proud of him.
Let's talk quickly about your coaching staff before we move on to other stuff. When you looked at the coaches after the game was done, did they immediately know what went wrong? What were their immediate feedback to you?
Immediately, they didn't want to be around me.
I hear you.
For about 2 days. Unfortunately, they had to be back around me at 9 o'clock the next morning. So, they know. I mean, our coaches are all pretty competitive, and I think we were all a little bit, not we were all disappointed in how we played and how we didn't think that was going to happen. So, but we also, there's been enough of us had some experience that have seen some of this step forward, and the next thing is how do we fix it? And there's nobody more conscientious about, fixing the product than the coaches are. I mean, it's our livelihood. We've done it. We've seen it before. They all want to do everything we can. It's my job to kind of direct them a little bit, but at the same time, those guys, I got a really good staff that it's really important to, and there was no hesitation at all, and all the guys saying, okay, what do we got to do to fix it? I've got to lead the way, of course.
Sure.
But everybody's got to look in the mirror, everybody on the staff, and say, well, what can we do to get better?
We've got lots more to talk about with Coach Rich Rodriguez, so we hope you can stick around for that. We're spending time tonight at the Apothecary Draft House here in Jacksonville. Our phone lines are open, 256-369-1688, and you're listening to the Rich Rodriguez Show on the Gamecock Sports Network.
I need to try it first.
The Civilian Marksmanship Program, also known as CMP, is a national organization dedicated to training and educating U.S. citizens in responsible uses of firearms and air guns through gun safety training, marksmanship training, and competitions. Their vision is to lead the nation in marksmanship excellence, providing safe, high-quality, and innovative programs with a focus on youth. For more information about the CMP and upcoming events, visit thecmp.org.
Eli Gold here, ready for a winning drive? Go see my friends at Cooper Chevy Buick. Choose from hundreds of new Chevys and Buicks, including a great selection of Car Bravo certified used. Score big with low finance rates and ask about their guaranteed credit approval program. Get top dollar for your trade, no matter the yardage. Your road to victory starts today at Cooper Chevrolet Buick in Anniston or online, cooperchevrolet.com. Official sponsor of JSU Athletics.
Grub Martin Young Oil, serving East Alabama for over 80 years. Come into one of our many locations throughout East Alabama and try our Joe Bell's coffee along with some Olio's donuts. From Center to Jacksonville to Auburn and everywhere in between, Grub Mart is here for you.
I need to try it first.
Welcome back, everybody. On this Monday night, we are live at the Apothecary Draft House here in Jacksonville, Alabama. I'm Eli Gold, Coach Rich Rodriguez alongside. We're happy to have you folks with us. We opened up the program tonight on at the bottom of the first hour with Jeremy Province. He is the cross-country coach here at Jacksonville State, but now we're spending time talking with Coach Rich Rod as we discuss football. We were just up here looking. Boston College, 14-0 early over Florida State. And, I guess this has been a while. If I'm not mistaken, this has been a while since we've seen a ACC team against Jacksonville State. Got to go back almost to that FSU game, if I'm not mistaken. But nevertheless, how about Florida State losing to Georgia Tech and now trailing early to BC?
I think you're going to see a lot of surprises in this day and age of college football. It's almost like it's built now in an NFL where you can fix a team in a hurry, with draft picks. The difference now is that if you got enough money, you can have 10 first-rounders.
Yeah.
You can buy them 10 first-rounders if you want nowadays. So it's a little different dynamic. We all know that.
Do you like it?
No, hell, I wish everybody was the same, right? But But it is part of the deal. As coaches, you understand this is where the rules are until they get adjusted to be a little fair to everybody. Where, you know, the group of 5 is going to be less than the power 5, and that's pretty obvious. But it's still a great profession. I still love what we're doing with the young men. It's just the frustrating part is that it's not apples and apples, and it really never was at some degree. You know, there was always kind of the haves and have-nots, but now it's
even more so.
Yeah, now it's just blatant. Obviously, they've got a $150 million budget and a $25 million NIL budget, and you know, and they're paying their players more than your entire budget is. You know, so that's just the way it is. I think it's going to all evolve in the next 2 or 3 years. I think there's going to be a lot of things that happen to try to, you know, garnish down to being a little bit more fair, but you know, until it is, this is what the rules are. We gotta do the best we can with it.
I just hope college football can survive all of this.
Yeah, it's not amateur anymore, right?
Not at all.
It's not college. It's kind of a semi-pro. Maybe even you know, some of these guys. Ohio State might have a bigger budget than the Dolphins. I don't know, but just like everybody asked me at the conference meetings. Yeah. You know, Greg was there. They had these questions. They were asking all the coaches. They were asking the ADs and the coaches, hey, you know, who's your favorite professional team? I said, Ole Miss. You know,
I'm sure that got a chuckle in the room.
Yeah, I'm kind of partial to them, right?
I hear you. I hear you.
And they're showing it.
Coach, we have a gentleman joining us here with a question at the Apothecary. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Coach, first of all, I think me and you are the only 2 people in the room that recognize the old Weviac Conference in West Virginia.
Which one are you school?
I played at Concord University.
There you go, so, Concord College.
Yeah, now it used to be Concord College. Yeah. My question to you is, how do you build continuity with all the roster turnover now?
Great question. You know, that's the hardest thing. The thing probably you miss the most too. And I think the fans could probably relate to it. They used to have players come in as freshmen, and then you kind of learn who they are, and then you see them play as a sophomore and a junior, and then your senior year, and you kind of grew up with them. Sure. See them grow up in the program in your town, and a lot of that is gone now. And that's the part I think we miss as coaches, and I think probably fans miss the same thing, is that you identify with guys and you see how they progress. And nowadays you're getting these hired guns to come in, so to speak, and do that. So we can't put our head in the sand and say, okay, well, I'm not going to take any transfers, or I'm not going to go by, do the best we can what the rules are. And so when we recruit, I just tell my guys to get the best players you can get, whether a high school guy, junior college guy, or a transfer guy. And inevitably, it's kind of balanced for us. Mm-hmm. We've taken as many high school guys as transfer guys. But again, something's going to come to a head pretty soon, where there's some limitations or some rules, roster limitations, and a budget. There got to be a salary cap. If you're going to be fair, you got to have some kind of salary cap. But it's hard, and that's a great question about the continuity of it. You got to try to get the guys established in your program as quick as you can, and that's not just athletically, but culturally, academically, and everything like that. Everybody forgets now the missing piece is that nobody talks about their academics. Nobody talks, well, what's your graduation rate? Nobody even asks that anymore. They just, what's your NIL budget? They don't worry about your graduation rate, but that's still important. So, NCAA is aware of it. I still think the NCAA's had their head in the sand for so many years that, they still got sand in their head with some of the rulings that they're making. But I think they're so afraid of the back pay, and they think they solved the problem by this $2.7 billion settlement, and they think that solved the problem. That ain't solved the problem. There's still going to be more lawsuits. Yeah. You're going to start paying people money, and they're going to want more money. So there's a lot of work to do. I wish they would involve more athletic directors. I'm sure Greg would agree with me. I wish they involved more athletic directors in their decisions, because those are the guys, the women and the men that are at the forefront of this whole thing for all sports. So instead of asking different administrators, ask the ADs, how do you fix this? What do you need to do? And then give them some weight in making a decision.
And if you were the AD?
Yeah, I got mine. I'm not afraid to give my opinion.
Sure.
I tell them exactly what they got to do. They're trying to, basically they're going to force people to drop sports, other sports, Olympic sports, what have you. And that's a shame, because those all are very, very important to the university and to the fabric, I think, to across the country. So it bothers me that, okay, well, you're going to have to drop sports because you can't afford it because of this settlement that the NCAA came up with. So again, I think the ADs have some ideas, and the presidents and the boards and the politicians, for God's sake, let's get them involved. Let's get a politician involved, right, in making decisions for college athletics. So, get the ADs making decisions, in my opinion.
Coach Rich Rodriguez sharing with us his answers, and obviously to the delight of the crowd that joins us here at the Apothecary Draft House. If you'd like to join us, if you have a thought on the subject, 256-369-1688. That's our phone number on this Labor Day Monday night. You discuss so many different elements here. You brought up the graduation rates and so on. How's JSU do in that department?
You want to know what my graduation rate is?
I'd love to.
100% of those that want to.
That's a great answer. Right. You know who first told me that? Wimp Sanderson.
Wimp Sanderson.
The old basketball coach at Bama.
That's good.
He said
that is true.
Everybody who wants to graduate will graduate.
And our job as coaches is if they don't have that 1-2 to try to motivate them to have that 1-2, right?
Yeah.
That's part of our job is because everybody talks about getting a degree, but it's not just getting a degree, it's getting an education.
Sure.
And that's the part that bothers me with not just with some student athletes, it's with students in general. If you're paying for your school getting paid for. Either way, if you're going to be in class, get engaged in class, learn something.
Mm-hmm.
I told him the other day, as a matter of fact, I said, I want you to be engaged in class. And I said, you might find out you like something, you learn something. I said, but it's also important for that teacher to see you be engaged and wanting to learn. I said, maybe if you would spend the time, an hour in class, and I'm just going off on a rail here, I'm in that mood.
That's all right.
If you spend that hour in your class actually learning what the hell the teacher's telling you, you won't have to go back later that night and study it and read it that you didn't pay attention to, right?
Yeah.
So I said, while you're going to be there, learn it. And then later, then the next day you can learn something new.
Yeah, you might as well. You're there.
Because everybody why does people go to college? They go to make a better living for themselves or their family, right? That's why you go. So why you're going to do that here, while you're here, if you're use your time to be here, use it to make a better life for yourself. That's why kids come to Jack State. That's why they go to college.
And the facts are, it doesn't matter where it is, so few will graduate and play in the NFL for umpteen numbers of years. I don't care if it's at Auburn, I don't care where it is, Jack State included. It's such a minute number that will actually go on to play professionally.
Yeah, and young kids nowadays, and I think I got a good group. I like my guys. I got a good group of guys, and they're pretty conscientious, but there's too many. We said this on the last show, right? There's too much of a sense of entitlement. Let's give somebody. Let's go give them a handout, right? What does that teach them?
Yeah.
How about earning a degree? How about earning your living and go to college, earn your degree, get an education, make a business for yourself, do whatever, but don't wait for what are you going to hand out to me? That's part of the problem in college athletics now is there's guys that are the first question they ask. Or their parents ask,
how much you going to pay me?
Yeah, what are you going to pay me?
Yeah.
On our level, it's like, okay, if that's their first question, they ain't coming here, so we move on to the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We give them nice snacks after the games and stuff like that. I think we had Bojangles last night, and we get Yamadas and. What else we got? We got to get some pretty good selections here. So.
Exactly. But you're right. It's a different world.
Yeah.
A totally different world. That's Coach Rich Rodriguez. We're going to come right back. We're going to continue with him on the Rich Rod Show. We'd love to hear from you at 256-369-1688. Feel free to give us a yell. And you're listening to the Rich Rod Show on the Gamecock Sports Network.
Whether it's family for dinner or game time, it's time for Johnson's Giant Foods Deli. All you have to do is drop by Johnson's Giant Foods and grab whatever you want hot and ready to go. Chicken salad and chicken fingers to die for. Savory ribs, salad, dessert, you name it. It's waiting for you and your family or friends. Johnson's Giant Foods with 5 locations in Gadsden, Atala, Jacksonville, and Coldwater.
The weather is warming up and spring is just around the corner at Miller Sand and Landscape Supply. I'm Craig Miller, and we've got something for everyone. From bulk materials like sand, gravel, and mulch to beautiful outdoor decor to make your outdoor living space the envy of the neighborhood. See our beautiful selection of Mazzarelli fountains, flowers to brighten your garden, and an outdoor center loaded with beautiful decor. Whether you need a little or a lot, visit Miller Sand and Landscape Supply.
Serving East Alabama for over 20 years, Samco is your local convenient, clean, and friendly gas station. Fill up your tank with gas, diesel, or your favorite snacks and drinks. Samco has 48 locations to serve you in Calhoun, Etowah, Marshall, Talladega, and Cleveland counties. Samco is a proud community leader in giving back to help support local schools in East Alabama. For your convenient, clean, and friendly gas station needs, it's Samco.
We welcome you back as we continue on this Monday night from the Apothecary Draft House here in downtown Jacksonville, Alabama. Eli Gold, Coach Rich Rodriguez. And, Coach, you got the family here. I see lovely Rita sitting there. Who are the ladies with her?
Rita is my mother-in-law. Barbara's here. My sister-in-law, Dorinda, all the way from West Virginia.
Really?
Come down to come to the game, of course, and then they're going to stay and watch the puppies, you know, for this weekend.
Sure.
We'll go up to Louisville and have a good time with that. So, yeah, it's great. They've been to a lot of games in a lot of different venues all over the country.
Poor old West Virginia, between the storm the other day and their ball game, they didn't have a good weekend at home.
It looked like a great atmosphere. My old buddy Pat McAfee had his show up in Morgantown, and I was supposed to be on it, but he texted me early Friday morning and knew I wasn't going to be in no mood to be talking.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't go on the Pat McAfee show, but you know, and then I saw where he gave them $1 million in NIL money. So I didn't know he had that. I knew he was loaded, but I mean, I'm going to call him about a donation.
Yeah, he can make a donation to Jack State, definitely.
Yeah.
He's quite the character. Now, you know, but the funny thing, though, a lot of folks didn't know him. Now they know him for his garrulous behavior. But he was a heck of a kicker.
He was, and that's who he is. He's not putting on any kind of act. And I mean, Pat was that same way. I mean, it's like, you know, and I was one that I think he was the first kicker that I ever put on scholarship out of high school.
Really?
And I, you know, those guys is sometimes you don't have to see a great kicker. You can hear him because you can hear the ball from his foot. And I heard in the first team when he worked out, I'm like, who's this guy? Turn around, and he was kicking balls through the end zone, punting the ball everywhere. So he did both for me. And I told him, I said, you know, because he's kind of wild. I said, listen, Pat, on Thursday nights I have a curfew. I said, now I won't check yours, but if you miss one kick, you're mine. You know what I mean? So he didn't miss very many kicks, but he was a great talent. And he bet on what's kind of neat, Eli, was he bet on himself professionally. Some of the moves he made. And now he's obviously made it, and he's doing great.
Yeah. What kind of a coach were you insofar as treating different personalities different ways while also adhering to a set of rules for everybody?
That's a great point. You know, you gotta have, there are certain rules everybody's got to abide by, right? But there's also, I told our guys, I don't want to change their personality, who they are, what they like, what religion they have, you know, music they listen to, how they dress. You know, they just got to be respectful, all right? But they also have team rules that everybody has to abide to all the time. And being a great teammate, you know, respecting the people and representing the program. I told them, it says, for the rest of their life, no matter what they do, the first headline is going to be Jack State or former Jack State football player so-and-so. And so you represent not only yourself and your family, but every other player, every other coach and their families for the rest of your life. And and so you got to remember that, and hopefully they act with maturity.
It's very interesting. It's not simple, is it?
No, and when you got 130 of them, you know, can you imagine being a parent to 130 teenagers, you know, and some of the guys are grown men, 22 years old. But that's the challenge, and that's why you got to have a staff that really helps you out, and I do that. But it's a lot. It's a lot going.
So what first got you turned on to coaching? I mean, it's tough to be. I would guess it's tough to be a man of maturity, making your living based on 18-year-old guys.
Yeah, I was 24-year-old head coach. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I was just trying to fake it then. But to me, I was always involved in sport. Every sport you can involve. I love sports, all sports. And since I couldn't play anymore, I thought, okay, what's the best way to stay involved in sports? And to me, it was in the coaching profession. And back then, we didn't get it. Miss Reedy could tell you. I think my first head coaching job, I made a salary of $20,000. I think it was. And I was a volunteer coach for a couple years. I taught driver's ed. The hardest job I've ever had, I was teaching driver's ed at North Marion High School. And if you ever been to West Virginia, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. And that's a challenge if you can go that fast. That's how tight the roads are. So you can imagine teaching 15 and 16-year-old boys and girls how to drive and how to parallel park in Marion County, West Virginia. So that was my first outside job while I was coaching football. But I learned a lot, and I've been blessed. Miss Rita and I and Raquel and Rhett, we've had an interesting journey over the last 40 years.
Definitely. Hey, we've got Swampy Jay on the phone from Coldwater, Alabama. Hello, your swampiness.
Go Gamecocks.
What can we do for you tonight?
Just a couple of questions. Over the weekend, with Alabama playing Western Kentucky, and then you had Auburn playing a in-state school, I raised the question on social media over the weekend is why can't we do something to encourage more in-state rivalries, but rebuild the old rivalries that used to exist? Why is that money going out of state instead of staying in-state?
A good question.
It is.
And we're trying to, I think we've got UAB on the schedule.
You have Auburn a couple of years
from now. We got Auburn, get a little paycheck from them. Then we got maybe trying to get Troy on the schedule a little bit. And hell, Alabama, if they want to pay me $2 million, I'll be down there on Saturday and Sunday. I'll play them twice, get $4 million. Help our budget. They could beat our brains in for a couple $1 million for sure. So I'll call my buddy Greg Byrne, the AD down there, and say, listen, Greg, I've said we'll go down there for $2 million. And if you want to do the back-to-back, we'll go for $4 million and have a great time.
Yeah.
I'll even sing Roll Tide for them if they won.
I'll tell you, in all seriousness, there are times, though, where there's no benefit for certain teams when you're playing in-state. I remember in basketball, it took forever for Alabama to play UAB because if Alabama won, well, they're supposed to win. Should have been and if they lose, well, it's a big slap in the face.
We had that situation in West Virginia. We had Marshall was the other Division I team.
Right.
And, we're at West Virginia. You're supposed to beat Marshall, right? So I really wasn't in favor of playing them. It wasn't going to be a home-and-home deal. We wound up doing it and wound up serious, and thankfully we wound up winning. But it wasn't a game you really, looked forward to.
Sure.
And Marshall, you maybe looked forward to it because you won the upset. But at West Virginia, it's like, okay, we got this game, and we got to win this game.
Got to win it.
It'll be the death of us, right?
Yeah. Will is on the phone in Birmingham. Hello, Will. Good evening.
Good evening. How are y'all?
Good. Thanks for calling. What's up?
So on the road, playing against a bigger school, how important is it to get a quick start?
Great question. I think it's critically important just for confidence of your guys. In the South Carolina game last year, I thought our guys were just so dialed in that it didn't matter what was going to happen, that, they felt confident that we had a chance, and then, we didn't get it done at the end there. But I think it is important, not only for our players' psyche, which no matter what happens, we should be okay, but also for them, for the other team, they're like, oh, geez, what we got going on right here. So it's important for us to get off to a good start and to challenge them a little bit, whether we score points or whether just make it difficult on them, just to get our confidence up.
Coach, as always, I thank you. I wish we could keep on going, but we're subservient to the clock on the wall here. But
I use some big words on me, like subservient.
Decided to throw it in just for shock value.
Well, we appreciate you. You're a legend, and I know everybody knows that. We're glad to have you part of Jack State.
Oh, I'm loving it. Definitely so. Travel safely to Louisville. We'll be seeing you this weekend.
Okay, sounds
Take
great.
care.
Thank
Coach
you.
Rich Rodriguez joining us here on the Rich Rod Show. We're coming right back to wrap it up on this Monday night, right after this on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
At Southern States Bank, we pride ourselves on being your bank. We're your neighbors and involved in the community. We're the bank featuring the Southern Rewards checking account, a cashback account with no ATM fees. We are on the cutting edge and always have a smiling face to help you out. So come to Southern States Bank, where we are committed to great service and being a great neighbor. Let us be the bank for you and your business.
Hello everyone, Tony Russell, General Manager of Sonny King Ford. And boy, do we have unbelievable markdown on used cars that you do not want to miss. It's time to make the best deal on a used car. Shop our wide selection of used trucks and premium pre-owned models. Don't wait another day. Come by and see me, Tony Russell, and let's make a custom deal for you. Find great savings on pre-owned used cars at Sonny King Ford on the sunny side of the street, Anniston, Oxford.
At Campers Unlimited, we offer a no-pressure experience, no hidden fees, and great service after the sale, making us one of the fastest-growing RV dealers in the Southeast. With our second location in Oxford, we offer a great selection of over 220 campers from top brands, including Grand Design. Our mission is to help friends and family spend time together in the great outdoors. At Campers Unlimited, you aren't just a customer, you are family. Check out our inventory at campersunlimited.net or come see us at Gaston or Oxford.
Final few moments here at the Apothecary Draft House here in Jacksonville as we spent this night speaking with Jeremy Province, the cross-country and track and field coach at JSU, and of course just wrapping up with Rich Rodriguez as his football team gets set to head to Louisville this weekend. Taking a look at the schedule for this weekend, the football game with the Louisville Cardinals takes place Saturday at 2:30 in the afternoon. The TV is on the ACC Extra network. So for those of you who have access to all of that, the ACC Extra network will have the television coverage of Jack State and Louisville. For the volleyball team, they are on the road in Corpus Christi, Texas for Friday and Saturday matches, and the coverage will be coming your way on ESPN+. Friday, they'll meet Texas Southern at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 5 in the afternoon. Then Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning, they'll meet the University of North Florida again in Corpus Christi. As far as soccer is concerned, Thursday at 7 o'clock against Alabama State, the JSU Soccer Complex, and coverage will be on ESPN+. Women's golf will be at Louisiana Tech. They're playing in the Argent Financial Classic at Squire Creek Country Club. They'll get going Sunday with coverage continuing through Tuesday. There will be no broadcast coverage of that one, but if you're heading for some reason into the Ruston, Louisiana area, you can catch all the action right there in person and support the Gamecocks there. But it's been an interesting show tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. We had ourselves a very spirited conversation talking about the football game of this past Thursday and previewing this week's meeting with the Louisville Cardinals. And we thank, again, Coach Rich Rodriguez and Jeremy Province for being our special guests. And, of course, all the folks here at the Apothecary Draft House, their management, and the folks who have come to join us here. We appreciate everybody very, very much. So do tune in. The coverage coming up this weekend from Louisville. You'll hear it on the Gamecock Sports Network. And then we'll be back with you next Monday with another edition of Jack State Live and the Rich Rod Show. So for all of us here, I'm Eli Gold. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll talk to you next time. So long, everybody.
Can you buy for $10 a hat, a milkshake, 166 channels plus live sports? That's right, for only $10 you can get 166 channels of classic TV shows and movies, including the latest news update from all around the world and local sports. Just simply go to 24ctn.com and click download, and then for only $10 you can have access to the best TV available.
Come out and check out the Alabama Tractor Difference. We can take care of all your needs of parts, sales, and service for RTVs, zero turns, and tractors and construction equipment. See us here in Lincoln at 620 Speedway Industrial Drive. Or come visit us here in Asheville at 275 6th Avenue, or give us a call at 205-594-7000.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I Want to Live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
Eli Gold here, ready for a winning drive? Go see my friends at Cooper Chevy Buick. Choose from hundreds of new Chevys and Buicks, including a great selection of Car Bravo certified used. Score big with low finance rates and ask about their guaranteed credit approval program. Get top dollar for your trade, no matter the yardage. Your road to victory starts today at Cooper Chevrolet Buick in Anniston or online, cooperchevrolet.com. Official sponsor of JSU Athletics.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I Want to Live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller.